Today's Amanita series will be discussing a member of Section Validae, one of the late season Amanitas that we have here in Rhode Island. Kind of a sign that our season's coming to a close. But we'll get to it. We'll call this the Lavandula group, Section Validae of Amanita. So we have a member right here. So we'll start with some characteristics. First off, looking at the cap, it has this very citrine yellow to white coloration on the pellicle that we can see, over here. We have some trace remnants of vellum. This one covered by the dirt in the centers, white. We can see it starts to turn this lavender kind of pinkish color towards the margin here that we can dust off pretty easily. Oh, this is known as the false death cap. A lot of people confuse these for destroying angels, which is not necessarily the case. I guess they kind of do look like it. Big characteristic is their aroma. They're in series Mappe, so they smell like radish or raw potato. As a good characteristic. We don't have any angels here in the Northeast that smell like potato. So this one obviously has some citrine, almost yellow discoloration in it here. Going over, we do have this pretty prominent skirt. Now this skirt here, this is a classic skirt of Section Validae. We can see these striate lines from the center of the stipe going all the way to the margin. And look how it's really flipped out. Kind of jutting out, especially right here. This is characteristic to Stirp citrina. A lot of these lavandulas. Well, this one here, I can see this mild graying color on the margin of the skirt developing. Also its size and general appearance. I'd be comfortable calling this Amanita cornelihybrida. So we do have a few members here in the Northeast. We have cornelihybrida. We also have Citrina, which can look very similar. And there's also lavandula. And there's an odd brunescence from Michigan, various Straminia, I think. Whether that exists or not, or as a synonym. Of the few members we have of Stirp citrina, the white ones at least, not including Porphyra. So with this one I'd be comfortable calling it cornelihybrida, mainly because it's robust size, and also this mild graying on the skirt. And as we flip her over, we'll see other identification characteristics. So with Amanita and all Amanita, what we want to do is loosen up the base. We want to view the whole mushroom out of the ground. Let me just get some of this dirt off. So, going back on the shape that we have here, let's see if we can get a little better focus. Tree in the background's good. So we have its general shape, its color, its vellum on the top, its out-jutting skirt that's slowly turning gray. We also have this bulbous base that we have, very vulvate in many occasions. So a lot of people do confuse this for a member of Section Phalloideae, but this is actually in Section Validae. And you can see this jutting of the base here. This little section that I peeled right here, if we smell it, its aroma is very potato-like, like a radish. You can see this very yellow color. Mild graying on the skirt here. Something we also do want to note on Amanita is the Gill Connection. And we can see how close can we go. So, as a characteristic of cornelihybrida, and we can see it on the left side of the stem here, so the gills aren't quite free. They have this little toothed appendage. I can't stick my finger in for the photo, but if you can see where the gills and the stipe meet, notice there's this light appendage. It's almost like a tooth a decurrent tooth that goes down the stem, which is a good characteristic to distinguish between cornelihybrida and Americitrina. And we do also want to note the short gills, the abundance of them, the variety of size, their distribution, as we can see here. These ones are all rounded, a little bit of erosion about there. Now, that's where the Amanita, it's always good to look at the short gills, the gill connection. And one thing in Valadae which also helps, not only do we want to look at the top of the skirt, we also want to look at the bottom of the skirt. Not necessarily in this case. This is a rather common end-of-season Amanita that we have here, the Lavandula group. Like I said, I'm calling this cornelihybrida. So just a memo on these. If we can narrow it down to 3 members of the group that we have in Eastern North America, we have cornelihybrida, this girl here, we have Americitrina, and we also have Lavandula. Now, I've never found Lavandula, and I know because that is the one of those 3 that can be distinguished. It has smaller spores than the other 2. Cornelihybrida and Americitrina, the spores are roughly the same shape, so even a microscope's not going to help you. So we have these other small characteristics, whether the size of the fruit body itself, any grang noted on it, coloration, aroma, and that gill connection is very important between those Americitrina and cornelihybrida. Now, and that's it. That's what I got for our Autumn Amanita series here in Rhode Island. I hope you enjoyed.